welcome back. In the last video we looked at the anatomical position as well as the supine and prone positions. In today's video we'll look at all the terms that help direct us towards the right part of the body. These terms help us to understand where body parts are in relation to each other. In general, there's 10 main body directions, and over the course of this video we'll go through them one by one and take a look at some examples. Alright, so the first directional terms we will look at are superior and inferior. Superior can also be called cranial, and superior is towards your head or upwards. Inferior is the opposite. It describes anything that's towards your feet or downwards. So if we compare the head and shoulders, your head is superior to your shoulders and your shoulders are inferior to your head. Superior doesn't only apply to the head. So for example, when you're comparing the legs to the chest would be superior to the legs since the chest is above the legs, and the legs would be inferior to the chest. So the next division that we have is anterior and posterior. Anterior can also be known as ventral, and posterior can also be known as dorsal. Anterior is used to describe anything that is towards the front of the body, and posterior is anything that's in the back of the body. So for example, if you look at your shoulder blades and your chest would be anterior to your shoulder blades, and your shoulder blades are posterior to your chest. Another example would be if you looked at your feet, your toes would be anterior to the rest of your foot since they're towards the front, and your heel would be posterior of the foot since it's towards the back of your body. So the next two terms we're going to look at are lateral and medial. These are more of a side-to-side description, where medial is like the middle, so it's anything that is directed towards the middle of your body, and lateral is anything that's directed towards the outside of your body. So if you take the examples of your arms compared to the rest of your body, your arms would be lateral to your body, and your body would be medial to your arms. So the next two terms that we're going to look at are proximal and distal. This one can be a little more confusing, but the main thing that you need to remember is that it's describing the position in relation to the attachment to your torso. So the easiest way to look at this would be with your arm. Proximal would be the point on the body that is closest to the point of attachment to the trunk. Distal would be used to describe a part that is further away from the point of attachment to the trunk. So for example, if you look at your elbow compared to your shoulder is a lot closer to the point of attachment to your torso. Actually, it is the point of attachment to your torso. So that means that your shoulder is proximal to your elbow. And since the elbow is further away from that point of attachment, it is distal to the shoulder. So the next two and the final two that we're going to look at is superficial and deep. And this has to do with how close you are to the surface of the body. So superficial is closer to the outside of the body and the surface of the body, and deep would be closer to the inside of the body. A good example of superficial that gets used a lot is the idea of skin and bones. So the skin is on the outside of your body, so that is superficial compared to your bones. And since your bones are more towards the inside of the body, they will be deep in compared to the skin. Another example of this could be your heart and your ribs. So since your heart is an organ, so it's more internal in your body, it is deep compared to your ribs. And since your ribs are more close to the surface of the outside of your body, your ribs are superficial to your heart. Alright, so that's it for this video. In the next part of this series, we will be taking a look at the different body planes. Don't forget to subscribe, and here's the next video in the playlist.